Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wanted to welcome everybody to this week's Access Denied. I am John Little, and I have my co-host Sonia Thomas, who is coming on in a minute. And we just want to take this time this week, as we do every week, to talk about the local, the state, and the national issues that affect public education. We love to get feedback from a lot of you guys, and we love to talk about topics that generally benefit Black, Brown, and poor parents. As we get started, we'll talk about a few things. We'll talk about back to school as we are. How is week two? We'll hear from parents of plans that you may have for Labor Day. We'll go a little bit into the national issues. And then as well, we'll get feedback from you guys. But before I get started, I really wanted to celebrate a lot of our fellowship alumni. As you see, Mr. Scott on here, who came out last night. You know, each month we spend time with our fellowship who have graduated from class, and we spend time talking about education topics, but we also go deep into what do we really want to do about it. Um, and so we just really take that time to listen and then react and then strategize and plan. And so thank you guys. And I think I got the list, but I'll just read a few names just for the sake of not getting it wrong for anybody. But definitely, as Scott is on here, I want to give a big shout out to Scott. Want to give a shout out to Latrice Reed, Miss Bennett. Let me keep going. Let's see, Miss Rollins, Miss Hayton, Miss Newsom, Miss Covington, Miss Angie, Miss Cuts, Miss Gordon, Miss Arnisha, Miss Hawkins, Miss Hooten, Miss King. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Like, that was it, really rejuvenated back to school as we're trying to get our heads around routines, and really helped us really get focused on the things that a lot of us really care about, and knowing that we don't have to do it by ourselves, that we can do it as a collective. And how we end it is how we start. We were fired up and ready to go. So thank you guys. Good morning, Miss Booker. Good morning, Miss Majors. Thank you guys for jumping on. But I want to hear from you guys just to kick us off. Like, how has week two in Metro Nashville Public Schools, or wherever you have your kids, started? Like, what are some of the good things that have happened? What are some of the things that you want to change when we think about back to school, but not back to business as usual? So let me know. What has it been, running into the car lines? I was passing one school and the car line is out of control. So I didn't have to find an alternate route. I talked to my 13-year-old son, and his first week wasn't good, which I knew because he just had a summer of like chores and freedom, but he was used to getting a lot of rest. But this week, as he's telling me, it's gotten better. So let me know how week two has started off, how it's been going. It's hump day, and then we'll jump right on in. And want to give a big shout out. We did it on the call last night, but I think it's important that everyone knows it. So, one of our organizers, who was an organizing extraordinaire, jumped on the call just to say hello, but actually, talking to parents, helping out. But want to give a big shout out to Torvis Gardner for, you know, not only going above and beyond, but in a time where he's taking his own break, still thinking about the parents and the grandparents that he works with, each and every week. And again, looking forward to him coming back. And so, one of the articles that I want to go over and really talk about is our school district, receiving the highest rating when we think about growth. Oh, okay. We got a couple of. Jordan says, good things seemed organized, weird. Yeah, my kids haven't had any homework yet. They're happy, but I'm like, y'all don't have nothing in there at the magnet schools. Yeah, that's a good question. And then she follows up with just a little concern. I feel like they should have something by now. Maybe they're warming up. Yeah, we all knew that those teachers that gave homework on the first day. And so, yeah, when you look at the second week, you would think, if I remember where your kids go, you would think definitely that school is ramping up on the homework sooner than later. Yeah. And I'll tell you about mine. I think my son was concerned. They're reading How to Kill a Mockingbird. And if you have ever read How to Kill a Mockingbird, it's a classic, but it's well, I'm gonna just say it has a lot of racism in it. He told me that, just heard the N word, which doesn't bother him because he knows it's in an education text, but he was saying he wants to read more empowering, like not older books, but newer books that really highlight some of the great things that our people are doing and not just the classics. And so that's been one of the things. And it was really good for me to listen to him critique it and not just complain and be negative, as I call it, negative Ned, but really like he came up with some type of solution to a problem he was having. And what I also appreciate about it is the after school program. So Backfield in Motion, and Dr. Chappelle, who used to be the principal at McKissick, is doing a lot of work and leading a lot of the work at Backfield in Motion. And this is maybe our third year, 2 years with Mrs. Chappelle, but that after school program is phenomenal. I know we got Boys and Girls Club that a lot of our parents attend. But if you are looking for a back to school program, and I can put the list of schools I would highly recommend Backfield in Motion. I can tell, and they're keeping it close to the chest, but I can tell they have some great things for the students as they work with students from middle school up into high school and beyond. And so, if again, the two that I've heard about that are really well, Boys and Girls Club, we have had the chance to do Andrew Jackson, and the one out west, I think, is Preston Taylor. Those are really good ones. And if you know any more, let parents know. The best thing that I appreciate is that the back to school program also provides transportation, which is very helpful because they're getting out at 7 o'clock, which at first I was like, that's a long time to be around, school. But I mean, what else are we going to be doing here? That'll save them from doing the dishes. But one of the articles that I'm gonna pull up right now is, it says Nashville public schools get top marks for student improvement first time since 2015, and we'll just read through it, and then I'll get you guys feedback on what you think. And as I'm pulling it up, good after what is it? Good morning, Sonia. How's everything going?
I'm sorry I'm late. I had some technical difficulties.
Oh, we already know I had to restart, start again, get good Wi-Fi, and I slid right into home base at 10:59. But if you just want to talk, I'm just going to pull up this article, a Tennessean article about how Mark's the best since 2015. But if you can talk like, how's your week been going so far? What has been the best thing? We're in week 2. And the question that I was asking parents, how has week 2 been? What are some of the good things that are happening? What are some of the things that you would like to improve?
Oh, okay. So my week started off pretty good, busy as usual. I think the highlight of my week was last night. Our campaign call with our parents.
I
It
talked
was,
about that too.
yeah, it was just good to see the faces. The energy. A lot of times, y'all know when I'm on virtual, I want to look at everybody's faces, because to me, it's just I'm a relator, and so I like to look in people's eyes and talk to them and see their faces. I miss the in person interaction, so it was just really good to see everybody last night. So many parents fired up and ready to go. Now that school is back in, y'all done came off y'all summer vacation, so y'all ready to get it. and for me, for school is different this year for my son.
hmm
He made the decision to go to private school, and so it is different. I have to make sure that he reaches his greatest potential, and taking him out of the traditional setting was going to be best for him and best.
It'd be best for you, yeah.
And the thing is, not everybody can do that, and it's I just like to be transparent, about how was I able to send my child to private school, I think it's a shame that I was only able to send him because he lost a parent. And that makes me sad. It makes me mad too because he deserved what he's getting anyway, no matter
Mhm.
what. And I'm thankful for his dad for the legacy that he left for him, so that I can continue on and make sure that he reaches his greatest potential. But we're fighting for our children to
Yeah.
have just that, um, to have that equity and to have what they need from day to day. And the fight continues.
The fight continues, and Kimberly White says week 2 has been good. My child is already getting great feedback from his teachers. Like I said, Jordan said good things seemed organized. Weird. The kids haven't had any homework yet. They're happy, but it's like y'all don't have nothing in there at the magnet schools. And it was kind of funny. She was like, maybe there's just. I talked about Sonya. It was always that teacher, a couple of teachers who gave homework on the first day,
Mm.
and so yeah, I would say yeah, maybe they're warming up Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my orientation for the school, they looked at me and said, he will have homework every day. And if
Yeah,
he tells you he doesn't, then you should check because
yeah.
he will have homework every single day. And to me, that's just setting high expectations for me and for him. Make sure you're checking is what they're saying.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so as I pull up this article, and we'll talk more about it in the future, but it essentially says, Nashville Public Schools get top marks for student improvement for the first time since 2015, and so that's something that we're exploring. All the scores haven't came out yet, but to lead into that, because we don't have the scores, one of our parents brought up last night. She talked about the personalized student dashboard, which would include the scores, the assessment or the ELCs, the map, the traditional grades that you get for report card periods. It'll include behavior. And one of the things that we want to do in the near future is go over there like we did last year, because I think it'll help a lot of parents have that dashboard to see just where your son, your daughter, your kids are at, and so that'll help you in guide you in the right direction of like how do you have the real conversations where you make sure it doesn't go back to business as usual, but you can look at the behavior. I think some of the parents talked about a misrepresentation on the attendance. But we want to make sure our parents are trained because it's there as a resource. We know last year when they did a survey, Sonya, I think when they launched it, at one point only 27% of the families were utilizing it. We'd love to get an update on where we are now with that number, but also would like to help contribute to increasing that number, at least with our Propel parents.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that parents like are even aware. I mean, I think we've even asked some schools about the student dashboard, and they're like, "Huh?" Or I've asked some teachers, and they're like, "Huh?"
I know.
And I don't know if it's a different in language or if it's that it's not being used. Um, you know, the district was calling it personalized student dashboard. Maybe they're calling it something else at the school. But
Yeah.
when I described it, they still were like, "We don't know what you're talking about." So that's concerning. I think it's a great tool. It's um, a great way for parents to kind of see what's going on. But I still think that there has to be some type of like plan and communication around what that stuff looks like. It's like what you're gonna do with it.
What you gonna do with it?
What you
Yes.
gonna do with the stuff in the dashboard? And that's the question.
Hmm. And so I see Shami says, yes, I'm used to homework every day going from private to public. So I've been assigning an assignment for him to prepare. I'm also interested in why we aren't receiving a syllabus, but I'll discuss that during our meeting. Oh, Shamish, you got me on that one. I mean, some systems are just different, but I don't yeah, we're gonna have to hold high standards to get that syllabus because the syllabus is a guide. It helps. We all know what it does, but yeah, I don't know why they're not getting it either.
I'm confused. She said, so I've been assigning an assignment
Hey,
but okay, I understand, but I think we got to get the roles kind of straightened out here. Um, I love the approach you taking though, and I think
yes,
you go in that meeting and establish the roles and be
yes,
like, why are you preparing and assigning him assignments? Like, I'd be there, but excuse my language, that I'm paying the money, I'm paying to send my kid to school, and I'm assigning the assignments. Same principle, that's public dollars. Why
hmm
are you assigning assignments? But I do like the sense of I run this that you're saying, and
yeah,
I think we should go on the 24th and run
yeah. Playing, playing no games, playing no
ain't
games.
playing no games. I don't blame her. That's how you go in there and you take your agenda to the meeting and you
hmm
establish the expectation that they will assign homework.
hmm
And as a matter of fact, tell them you want your money back for the assignments you don't assign.
hmm But yeah, I think we want to hear from parents. I think that's a good point, Miss Booker, when you think about transitioning from your private education of going public and having those high expectations, because it's the same thing with teaching kids. And I would say, how do we use best practices? Like, how do we make sure whatever's working at schools that are doing really well? Like, just going back to the article, it talked about, some of the highest marks in growth since 2015. But if you watch Access Denied, one of the other articles we also pulled was essentially saying, the achievement gaps remain consistent. And so what you're doing is just holding the system accountable. You know, our kids, I remember one of the parents said, it's not good enough for my kid to graduate and be reading on a fifth or sixth grade reading level. Like, my child need to be at or above grade level. And I think that's one of the things that excited me the most last night was having parents like be able to express themselves or what they want to see best, and then actually put it to practice on, like, how do we want to get it done collectively, because we just realized, son, you're pretty strong, you got a strong voice. Shamice, I know your voice is strong, but a lot of times when we do it ourselves, we realize that we fighting against a giant. And David took out Goliath, but before David took him out, Goliath took out a lot of people. He had God on his side. And so we got to figure out, how do we work together and look at the issues? Like, what are some of the issues? And I guess that's what I'm asking, that people are dealing with right now is homework, but what are some of the things that we would want to see change? And then we realize, not only is it Jordan, not only is it Kimberly, not only is it Shamice or Scott, but it's hundreds if not thousands of parents.
Yeah. Collective thoughts, collective action,
Mm-hmm.
collective demands, collective celebrations, collective, I can go on, collective, together, same vision, same action, same results, same outcomes. And a lot of our children have not had the outcomes when we look at in comparison to their white peers, and that follows us into our adulthood, John.
Yeah. One of the things that I realized today, I went to this meeting. It was Blueprint with United Way, and literally in 5 or 10 minutes, I heard about so many programs that are beneficial, but even I never knew about them. Like, it was programs around mental health, home visits, prenatal through birth. And I think also, like, having this ability to communicate with parents, like, to get this message out. I remember saying they had $1 billion in, I want to say it was the TANF. I just couldn't think of the word, but it was a TANF. So the Tennessee Assisted in for Needy Families had $1 billion in there, right? And so what I heard today, they took some of that $1 billion and put it in this program, but the person who led the grant even said, "Yep, we just haven't gotten it out there. Like people just don't know it's there," and that was hard.
So how do they keep getting the grants? That's a whole nother conversation. Shanice said, I know, but I just like, girl, you are more than prepared. I am cheerleading you on. Ain't,
Mm-hmm.
ain't no criticism here. You are doing the damn thing. You strong. I want to come up there and see it. I want to be a fly on the wall.
Amen.
Strong mama. She said she don't make her own homework assignments. I love it. It's dope. I think it is dope.
But do you see what I'm saying, Sonny?
Yeah.
I think it's
I,
it's
I asked the question of how do they get all that money and then they don't give it, they don't even give the services out to people. So who continues to give them the money for the programs? Because black folk like us, like we begging people to do the work that we do, all the time. And how do they get billions of dollars to have secret programs that don't nobody know nothing about?
so look, this one ain't never, and it ain't my business though. But I ain't never got mad at somebody that took advantage of the PPP, whether they had whatever they were doing.
I ain't mad. I'm just asking how they doing it. I mean, how we
But
calculate
that's but that's yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like on that level, however they're doing it, it is what it is. But I also know on the other end, they've been doing this for decades. It's the grant game.
So my question is, how they do? Because I want to know.
You need to find that grant writer. You write the grant. You write yourself in the grant, and then you just let it sit. Let it collect
Hey,
interest.
I ain't criticizing it. I want to know how you do it. Show some, like, let us see it on the secret, because that's a real thing, though. Like, to have all of those things and people don't have access, right? That's one of the things we fight for, like having access. Hey, Sarah, we talking about folk getting these big grants and got all these programs and don't nobody know the FBI hidden secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, thank God for the partnership, John. You going and listening, and then sometimes happen. We can help push those things out.
Yep.
But you know, I think that's a real thing. That is a real thing to have mental health service. And I see people on Facebook begging for mental health service.
That- that's where I'm going. And so even a lot of the parents we work with, as we're knocking on doors, as we're doing events, as we're jumping on Zoom, I mean, you hear the need, and I don't know where to send them either because I ain't heard about it. But I just thought, even with some of our parents, and Sonia, you know a lot of these parents, like some of these programs, when you think about mental health or prenatal to 17,
Yeah.
it could be a game changer. And I'm a show what somebody wrote,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna just say it kind of put me in the wrong way because I'm I'm pretty sure the person who wrote this, it looks like they came from a good perspective, like the heart in it, but they were like totally misinformed. And I'll just say a little snippet of it because I don't even want to put this person. It said it broke my heart these past 2 days to see how many kindergartners showed up with no previous exposure to almost anything. It was so overwhelming for them to understand the concept of staying in line, wiping themselves, buttoning their own pants, opening a milk container, holding a pencil correctly. And they go on this run-on sentence for like, yeah, a million words. And I looked the person profile up, and I even looked up, where they hanging, and they don't look like they got much going on too. But it rubbed me the wrong way because you got to look at where we are right now. When a parent, the gas done went up, the rent done went through the roof. I rode past River Chase today. River Chase is boarded up and set to be demolished. That was over 300 families. And when they leave River Chase, when they walk out them doors and shut it for the last time, where they gonna go? And so when you think about what's on the mind of families and you think about Maslow, like people trying to keep a roof over their head, like let alone like feeding their children, like doing the basic stuff. And it just it rubbed me the wrong way because it came from a point of no empathy, no sympathy, but also not looking at why they're in the position they're in. They might have a job, but like you're not even in a position to help somebody else.
Some danger in a single story too,
Mm-hmm.
because I know parents are putting pencils in their kids' hands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these kids may not know everything, but who are we to know? I can remember I got 4 children. I can remember when my first child went to pre-K. Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, I saw a parent in the Black Nashville Facebook page, no, or it might have been East Nashville, one of the Facebook pages, just yesterday, who was asking about preschool near the Centennial Hospital area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a preschool over there, and I can't remember the name, but it costs thousands of dollars a month because usually, like a lot of the doctors and nurses send their kids over there.
It's like the Primrose.
The Primrose.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And somebody had the audacity to recommend that. And
That's why we reached out. That's how I knew what you were talking about. Because
Yeah.
somebody recommended it.
Yeah. So what breaks my heart is what you're saying, John, is folk can't afford to put them in preschool. So they at home with grandmama, who is a generation that was never taught how to read.
Mm-hmm.
See, you got, like you said, you got to backtrack and look at the history of this thing. There's a danger in the single story. The single story for that person is them mamas and daddies ain't teaching their kids how to do stuff at home, and when they get to school, they don't know stuff. Danger in a single story. That's
You know what my curriculum was when I was with my grandmama? It was the news, then it was the Price is Right.
Days
Then it was yep, and then it was As the World Turns. Like that was my curriculum.
Your grandmama and them did like going over in color,
Yep.
going over there and write your name. Because I went to Aunt Mary in them house. They fed us good. We were safe. But Aunt Mary and them didn't have past a 9th grade education.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what our parents and Miss Ruth out north. We went to Miss Ruth's house. Miss Ruth was 80-something years old, keeping me and my brother. Danger in a single story. Yeah, we watched the soap operas and stuff with them, but Miss Ruth and them couldn't read. Miss Ruth and Aunt Mary and them didn't have no education. But that's what our parents could afford. Danger in the story, man. Like the people didn't care about us. They cared about us, man. They cared about us.
Yeah, but that's where we're going. And Shami said she saw that post and it bothered me as well because it's, I used to always say when people commit violence in your own neighborhood over turf, or when you see somebody, usually a white man in a suit walking in your neighborhood, pointing at buildings, you never do nothing to them. And so it's like, what are you going to do differently if this is an issue? When are you going to call out the systemic racism? Like we did the Disrupt and Dismantle, and we knew it was a problem in Nashville, but it wasn't until they said, 37208 is the most incarcerated zip code in the country that people had to take a step back because we knew it was bad, but we didn't know how bad was.
Man, and Shami said she saw that too. Girl, I ain't gonna lie. And this is this my problem. I won't save everybody. I started to reach out to her and say, girl, she got twins. I started but I gotta work. But I'm like, Lord have mercy, I keep them twins because that woman gotta work.
Yeah.
Got twin kids and I think she said she was new to Nashville. And bless her heart. Yeah, Shami saw it too. That broke my heart so bad. I already knew.
Yeah. So those are just things we got to work on. I see Shamika coming in. Good morning.
Good morning, Shamika. It was good to see you yesterday. I didn't get to talk to you one-on-one, but hope to grab some coffee or one of them nutrition drinks at the Goodlettsville True Nutrition.
Come on now. Get out there all the time. But think through, guys, and we're not going to be long, but we got some really good things coming up. and it's really following the lead of everyday parents. Like as you guys come on here and you talk about whether it's the homework or the syllabus or the tutoring, like those things really help inform decisions. And one thing we know right now for Nashville, for Black and brown people and poor people, it ain't gonna get no better. Nashville is set to keep going. So if you see somebody struggling now, just know they about to struggle even more. If it comes to the academics, when the CARES money run out, when we're not hearing a lot about the social emotional learning and different practices that they created, but we know that stuff is going away, and so we have to realize wherever we are now. That's why I'm just waiting until September, Sonya, to see where we are, because we can only say if they ain't doing nothing better than they did before, it's only going to get worse. And again, it's people. If I never taught my son, if nobody ever taught me how to ride a bike, and I never rode a bike, when my son say, "Dad, I want a bike," and he say, "Take them training wheels off," I'm gonna just have to look at him. I'm gonna be like, "Okay, let me get these band-aids ready," because it's usually impossible to teach somebody something that you don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let's see. It's it's heartbreaking. My 23-year-old daughter is at the point in her life that is a milestone, and she is about to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's getting ready to get. She starts her master's program next week,
Okay.
and she's about to purchase her first home. She's following after her mama's footsteps. I went from school to buying a house, and the market around here. You go to school, you do what your mom and daddy tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Go to school, get your education, protect your ACT, and it's just hard to live here. And she's learning that. And we went and looked at some houses in Springfield, and then we came back to
Okay. Yeah.
Nashville.
Yeah.
And I just say that to say, John, like to reiterate what you're saying. It's hard to even be here and stay
Mm-hmm.
here. And they push you out to, you know, the country areas, like the country areas. She's like, "Ain't no Kroger over here." First thing she said, I hollered. She said, "Ain't no Kroger." No, baby, you got an IGA.
Mm-hmm.
And not to down that, but
Right.
she had to see, because I like me some IGA too. She just could see the difference.
It's a
She
big
could
deal.
see the difference, and you got to make sure that these kids get the same $30,000 a year education as our mayor gives his children, our governor gives his children, so that they can get in the same Ivy League schools that they get in.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. And so one of the things that I want to show is just where we are right now. Like when you think about the housing market and we say it's not going to get any better. So if you keep worrying about, so in 2011, Sonya, what do we call it? We called it mobility rate, right? The mobility rate said where you started, if you move a school, you contribute to the mobility rate. Well, in the North Nashville cluster in 2011, it was 43%. And so we knew almost one out of every two students was going to move during the school year, right? And so when you get to it now, you say, okay, probably what's the mobility rate in North Nashville right now? It's even worse. And I
Yeah.
know Facebook use, I think that's real, real. You gotta approve StreamYard to post your name.
Man, I gotta go out, y'all. John, you gotta remind me. I got to go out north to where I grew up at. It's the only house still sitting on that street. That's the same house.
Wow.
Don't let me forget that.
Yeah.
I
But
want to have that memory, but it just go to say what you're saying. Like, I think only Nub is the only one on the street where we live at. Nub and his family.
but this is what they're getting for 300,000 at this point.
I know my daughter, she be coming in there showing me the little thing, and I'm like, blessed assurance,
Yeah,
Lord Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah, but okay, let's talk about that. It's a rich man's game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
rich man's game. You know, you got people with money coming through here, taking what folk have worked for
Yep.
all their life,
Generations.
for generations, and just literally giving them pennies on the dollar
Mm-hmm.
for their property and then building up stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That house is 300, but they bought it for 51 back in the day. So this probably was bought through an auction
yep.
because it didn't even change. And so they bought it for an auction. You know they bought it no more than 51. And they was like, we're gonna put it out here for 300. Like that's a lick.
And that ain't no original owner.
Right.
That ain't no original owner. That's what my daughter
That's
was.
somebody grandmama or grandfather who done passed away. It went through chancery. They put it on the auction block, and the family never even had a chance.
Nope. We gotta increase our financial literacy. You know, that's one of the things that I'm teaching my kids. Somebody people look at me, how your kid, 23 years old, right, buying a house. Right. It's financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the game, man. I talk about wealth around here.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't talking about clothes and stuff like that. Like I'm teaching them wealth, but I'm teaching them stuff that I wasn't equipped with,
Yeah.
John.
And you know how much it hurt.
I know how much it hurt, man, and I don't want my children to hurt like that. And so parents, I'm gonna tell you something. You know, let's find out how to build generational wealth in our home. Like everybody ain't got to know what you do, right? Like I wasn't out there broadcasting. I'm building these little real estate owners over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm doing it now because I think if you can do a thing, you can teach a thing, right? And so be thinking ahead and be visionaries about your children and help them to understand what they want. So I did it, my daughter did it. Now my youngest daughter, she's like, I want to own me a home too.
Mm.
I want to own me a home too. And it's like, okay, how do we create a path to a home, to home ownership and property and real estate? Dream big for your kids and have them to dream big.
Yep. And I think being that connected to education helps you when you don't have to worry about
Mhm.
are you going to run out of gas by the time you get to the job? Are you got to worry about, well, the cost of food done went up like these, but I'm still getting the same amount of assistance, or I'm still getting the
Yep.
same amount on my check.
Yep.
It, it helps us dig and develop that time. Yesterday, I was working. My son had it was getting him ready for the eighth grade. It went through the school. I forgot all about it because
Mhm.
I was working. And so you got to think how many other people are like, look, am I going to put in this extra hour or two and make this money, or am I going to go home and help them think about ninth grade? And you
Yeah.
know the decision they're gonna make every time, which is the right decision because you gotta keep a roof over their head.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
ain't got a roof, what you doing?
You're in trouble. You're gonna be
You're in
wet.
trouble.
You're gonna be wet and you're gonna be cold.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be wet and you're gonna be cold. But I just want to encourage parents, like we are not what happened to us. And I say that all the time. And it's
Yeah.
something that I tell myself. I had a lot of stuff that happened to me personally, and still stuff that happens to me. But you have the power in your hands, a significant amount of power
Yeah.
to help to change what happens next with your child. And that starts with building a movement of parents, like the fight for the education, right? Like we got to do that together so that they can have the education they need, they deserve, so that they can have homes, so that they can have whatever they dream of, right? So they can have access to that. And we're fighting a lot for access and the choice and the ability to make those informed decisions for our children. I heard a lot of
Mm-hmm.
parents last night, John, was talking about, and they were celebrating. I was so happy to hear them. They were talking about school starting, and then a couple of them said, and my daughter is going to play a sport this year. And
Mm-hmm.
then somebody else said, like, they were just so excited. And so I just sat there and I just kind of dreamed with them. Like, I was like, oh, they're so excited. I wonder what's next for them and like what their children are thinking. And then Miss Hooten called me.
Okay.
Miss Hooten called me about 7:40. I had gone for me a walk, y'all. I went strong. I walked and I ran a little bit last night. I'm finna be cute. Yeah, y'all see my little, if you look at past videos, my double chin going away. That's all right. Anyway, Miss Hooten was saying that her ninth grader was listening to our campaign call.
Wow.
And that she said she kept calling my name, and it was like people talking, so I didn't hear her. The little girl wanted to talk. Guess what I told her?
What's that?
This campaign call. You got a place on the agenda, baby. She wanted to talk about her experience in school. She wanted to talk. See, all the parents are talking about today. The question is, how things going, right?
Yeah.
But when you ask the child, and I didn't even want to hear it last night. I said, no, we're gonna give her full stage that she deserves. Mm-hmm. And I said, I apologize. And she said, yeah, a lot of parents, a lot of people was talking and excited. I said, well, I'm committed to making sure that baby gets to talk about her experience. So when we have our next campaign call, John, we got to make sure we put on the agenda for that baby who goes to Maplewood to talk about her experience.
Okay.
We can't see you no more, John. I don't know what your little screen undid over there, but it's done went a wall.
Yeah, and I'll work on that. But the last thing that I want to do, I want to highlight. I see we talking a little bit about Nina, and I want to give Nina a big shout out. She has been a Nashville Propel, powerful parent leader. Not only is she doing work around literacy on our behalf, but what she organized last week and invited us out. And shout out to Victoria for going out there last Thursday. But it was at Stratton Elementary School.
And she set up their pretty table, John.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they went out there, and these are just some of the pictures. But what I saw, I was like, okay, parents came out the woodwork. And it was awesome to have real community people. I know the new Miss Joy is the new principal. I know she came from Amqui, Nashville native. Just to open it up with that collaboration, I think these are some of the pictures. It was really good to see. They had the bouncy house, they had the teachers there, but that's how you started off with relationship building. Like everybody's there, nobody is looking like they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And families feel welcome.
Yes. And so then the next step is the partnership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome us in, but be partners with that. And that's exciting. Thank you for that invite, Nina. We look forward to doing more. Shamika says, I'm about to go and recruit some teachers. Okay. All right. It's important to me. It's important for us to hear it from them. Absolutely. Hear it from the babies. She's referring to the babies. Hear it from the babies. Nina says, yes, Nina is great. She's an amazing asset. Yes, she is. We love her. We're going to lock her. And Nina got to get together and chop it up a little bit. We just giggle when we sit and talk. I don't know what we be giggling about, but we just, every time we see each other, bust out laughing. We do. Every time. We just bust out laughing. And John, you know what? We need to have some wine and cheese or something with our parents.
I think that'll be right on time.
I missed them so much last night. It just, I don't know what got into me. I was so emotional. I was like, there go Miss So-and-so. There go me. I was just so happy to see you.
Back to school, but not back to business as usual. I mean, that was the theme, and it was all through the college. It's been all through even since we started the back to school thing, not back to business as usual.
Yep, our organizers, they did it. They did that. She said wine. Shamika said wine. Yes, wine and some cheese.
Yeah. When I used to do political the Wine Wednesdays, we would drink wine and phone bank was one of the most attended events. That's how you got all your volunteers to come in Put some of that wine in. You know, it don't gotta be Moet, but it don't gotta be all this. Just get some nice mid grade. I know what the wine Shamika like. I think we could have that, but wine and cheese would be yeah.
I think I might personally do that. It won't be
Okay.
a pale thing, but I might have a little wine and some craft cheese over here. Ain't gonna be
Okay.
none of that $5 boar's head cheese. Y'all can't afford that. I probably do a little craft, a little Velveeta cheese, and some of that barefoot.
Come on now.
Just
That,
with Taylor Port.
that,
Shamice said she'll help. Okay, Shamice. All right, you got
hey, we putting it in the action. Hey,
Hey, Shamice, go on and inbox me. I'm sending you my number. Let's go on and do it. Have a little something over here at my house for the parents.
and we're gonna end on a good note. I'm about to get me something to eat because it's been a long day from the beginning. But thank you guys for jumping on. Shamice, thank you. Like, keep letting us know your journey. Shamika, I know we about to get real tight. Thank you for jumping on that call last night. All the other parents who have come on, who was on the call. Let's keep this train moving back to school, but not back to business as usual. Be on the lookout for just some of the things that we got coming up. We got another fellowship coming up, and then we're partnering with different schools in the community. And so, if you know a school that we need to come to and talk to parents and work with parents, please let us know. Inbox us, social media us, email us at nashvillepropelparents@gmail.com, or go to our website, which is nashvillepropel.org. And I think the website is going to be at the bottom.
Yeah, come on. Good to see y'all. Great show today. And we outie 3000.
All right. Let's